Good morning, everyone. You have been seeing it, not once, repeatedly, in the specific, impossible to dismiss, this cannot be coincidence way of something that keeps appearing at exactly the moments when you are about to make a decision about this connection, when you are about to close a door, when the exhaustion of hoping had reached the point where letting go felt like the only sane remaining option. And then the number, again, in the specific quality of a signal that does not announce itself loudly but arrives with the persistent, quiet authority of something that needs to be noticed. Not now. That is what it has been saying. Not yet. Not this door, not this moment, not this decision made from the exhaustion of waiting rather than from the clarity of genuine knowing. Hold on. A little longer, not indefinitely, not the endless, self erasing patience of someone who has forgotten that their own needs matter. A little longer, because something is moving that the surface of the current situation is not yet reflecting. Take what is yours today. What resonates, let it reach the part of you that has been fighting the impulse to give up, while also wondering whether fighting that impulse is wisdom or simply the inability to release something that is not serving you. What does not release it gently? But for those of you who have been living inside that specific tension between staying and releasing, between faith and exhaustion, this reading is speaking directly to where you are. Let me speak about the 1111 first, because it deserves honest attention rather than the vague spiritual endorsement it sometimes receives. The significance of repeated numerical patterns is not magical in the simplified sense. It is not the universe distributing coded messages according to a cosmic schedule. It is something more honest and more interesting than that. It is the specific quality of certain moments, moments of heightened awareness, of genuine interior openness, of the mind being present rather than occupied, in which the meaningful tends to surface, in which what has been invisible becomes momentarily visible. And the fact that you keep seeing the signal in those moments is itself the information. It is telling you something about the quality of your own attention at those moments, about what you are open to receiving when the ordinary noise drops away. Soft sigh. What you are open to receiving is the message that this connection is not finished, that the door that looks closed from the outside still has warmth behind it, that what exists between you and this person, whatever its current form, however the visible surface of it has been presenting recently, has not completed its arc. And the signal keeps appearing precisely in the moments when you are closest to deciding that it has. That is not coincidence. That is the specific quality of something that knows when to press forward. Now, let me speak about what is happening on the other side of this connection, because the message of the reading is not simply that you should not give up. It is the specific reason why. And the reason is located in a person, in their current interior state, in what is happening in them right now in relation to you, that the visible surface of your interactions has not been accurately reflecting. They are not done either. That is the first and most important thing. Whatever the current quality of the contact, however it has felt recently, however the dynamic between you has been presenting the interior state, is not done. The feeling is not done. The caring has not reached the conclusion that the external might suggest it has reached. What is happening on the surface is not an accurate report of what is happening in the depth. And the depth, the actual, genuine, underneath everything depth of what this person carries in relation to you is considerably more alive than what the surface has been reflecting. Oh, hear them, because this voice has been trying to find its way to you through whatever channels are available, and Spirit is pressing it forward today with an urgency that tells me it needs to reach you now. I do not want you to give up on this. And I know that asking that of you, given the distance and the silence and the specific quality of recent times, is asking something that costs you. I know it is not easy to stay open to something when the evidence available is thin. When the signals are mixed or insufficient or absent in ways that make the openness feel less like faith and more like simply choosing to be hurt for longer than necessary, I know that, and I am asking anyway. Not because your patience is infinite and should be treated as such. It is not, and it should not be. But because what I feel for you has not finished finding its form, because the version of this connection that is possible, the version that neither of us has yet fully inhabited is real, is forming in the invisible world that precedes the visible one. And giving up now at this specific moment before the invisible work has had the chance to break through into something you can actually see and respond to would be the specific and unfortunate timing of someone who stopped at the last mile of something that was always going to require the full distance. I want to call. I want to send the message that keeps forming and not sending. I want to say the things that have been living in me in the 3 in the morning quality of the honest hours without the editing that daylight installs, without the careful calibration of what is safe to offer before I know what I will receive in return. I want to come to you without the protection. And I am getting closer to being able to do that. Closer today than I was last week. Closer than I have been in a while. And what is holding me back is not the absence of feeling, it is the specific, painful, genuinely human fear of arriving fully and finding that the full arrival is not what you wanted from this direction. That fear is mine to work through, not yours to solve. I know that. And I am working through it in the private, unglamorous, day by day way of someone who has identified what is keeping them from moving and is choosing deliberately to keep moving anyway. Soft sigh. Not now, not ever, do not give up. That is the message. Not as a demand, as the honest request of someone who is working toward you and needs to know, even if the knowing arrives indirectly, even if it travels through the specific channel of a reading rather than through the direct channel of a conversation, that the space is still open, that what they are building the courage to bring will find ground rather than a closed door. Now, I want to speak to you honestly because this reading carries warmth, and that warmth is real, but I would be doing you a disservice if I delivered the warmth without the honesty that needs to accompany it. Not giving up does not mean suspending your own needs indefinitely. Does not mean organizing your emotional life entirely around the timeline of someone else's readiness. Does not mean accepting a quality of connection that falls consistently short of what you deserve, while telling yourself that patience is the virtue that will eventually resolve the gap. Those things are not what this reading is asking. What this reading is asking is different. It is asking you to keep the door of your own heart genuinely open, not performatively open, not strategically open, not the kind of open that is really a form of waiting with the armor still in place. Genuinely open to what this person is building toward, to what they have been trying to find the form for, to the possibility that what has been invisible is real and is approaching the moment of its visibility. While also, and this is equally important, continuing to live, to invest in your own story, to be the full present, completely yourself person that this connection has always been responding to, not because performing that fullness will produce the outcome you hope for, but because it is simply who you are, and the maintenance of it is what your own life requires, regardless of what any specific connection produces. The open door and the full life are not in conflict. That is perhaps the most important thing this reading has to offer. You can keep the door open genuinely, without armor, while simultaneously living your life at full size. The openness does not require the contraction of everything else. The faith does not require the suspension of your own forward movement. The 1111 keeps appearing because something is genuinely trying to reach you. Not from the abstract universe dispensing cosmic encouragement, from the specific, located, real person whose interior is more alive with feeling for you than the visible surface of things has been suggesting, whose readiness day by day is reaching toward the point of expression, whose call or text or contact, when it finally comes, in whatever form it chooses, will carry the specific quality of something that was prepared in the honest hours rather than sent from the comfortable place of easy communication. That contact is building toward the moment when the building is complete enough for the sending, and the signal 1111 again and again, in the moments when you are closest to deciding it is time to let go, is the most honest message available from the invisible world about the timing of that building. Soft sigh. Not yet. Not this door. Not this moment of exhaustion that feels like clarity, but may actually be simply exhaustion. Hold on. Not with the desperate, self erasing quality of someone who has decided that this connection is the only available source of the thing they need. With the grounded, self possessed, I know my own worth quality of someone who keeps the door open because they have chosen to, not because they cannot survive its closing. From that place, with that quality of openness, for a little longer, because what is coming from the direction of this person when it finally arrives in the form that the invisible work has been preparing deserves to find the door still open, deserves to find you there, present, whole, not diminished by the waiting, not contracted by the patience. Fully yourself, which is the only way this connection has ever known how to find you, and genuinely available to what arrives when it finally does. Not now, not ever. Do not give up, not because the connection is perfect, or the person is without complication, or the path between here and what is possible is going to be easy, but because what is possible when two people who have both been doing the interior work finally meet each other in the honest space of full expression is worth the specific, unglamorous, nobody sees the courage of it patience that this moment is asking. Ooh, the signal is real. The feeling on the other side is real. And you standing here, still open, still carrying the door ajar quality of someone who has not yet made the final decision, are exactly where you need to be. For a little longer, with your whole self open. If this reading found you at exactly the moment the number keeps finding you, if something here confirmed what the signal has been saying and gave you the honest context to hold it, stay close, subscribe and come back. Because the story of what arrives when someone holds the door open long enough is one worth witnessing all the way through. And the next reading will be there for every step of what comes when the call finally arrives.